Hey, what's up? I hope you're all doing well and excited for official hardcore. Today, I'm going to be bringing you a few tips, mostly about niche, weird, and advanced classic mechanics that I see people dying to all the time, so that hopefully you aren't one of them. Now, personally, I hate when intros last too long, so I'm just going to jump right into it. First off is maybe the most important thing that I see so few people doing, and that is backjumping. Backjumping is essentially making sure that your back is not facing the enemies as they attack while you run away. This is important for a few reasons. First off, you cannot dodge, parry, or block attacks from behind, and some mobs may even have backstabs or similar mechanics, so you're going to be taking a lot more damage if your back is to the enemy. The second big reason is daze. Daze is a slow effect that has a chance to be applied to you when you're hit by a melee attack from behind. If you're mounted, you will be dismounted if you get dazed, and the effect can proc every time you take a hit from behind, meaning you can basically be infinitely snared if you're unlucky. Main way to avoid this is by backjumping. Backjumping is basically jumping and turning so that you face the enemies as you run from them at an angle. You'll have to run at some point in your hardcore life, and keeping your ass turned away from the enemies as much as you can will keep your ass in one piece. Number 2. On the topic of running away, we have another extremely important and much more complicated topic, leashing. Leashing in WoW is unfortunately not referring to anything kinky. Leashing is the term for mobs following and chasing you as if they're on a leash. This is important for both kiting and running away, as you need to know how to keep the leash and how to reset the enemies so they don't chase you to the ends of the earth. There's a lot of factors that make this more complex than it seems, and Calamity has a great guide if you want to go into all the nerdy
Hello
details.
gamers. If you've ever asked yourself,
Why are these mobs still following me?
you need to watch this video.
But the basics are, if you keep attacking an enemy, it will keep chasing you. And if you stop attacking, it will stop chasing once you've run away for long enough. There's a lot more nuance to this. For example, if a mob stops moving for a bit because you stopped running, whether it's to cast, or you got rooted, etc., the leash will reset and will keep chasing you, even though if you don't attack.
Stand still. This is the least known method for extending a leash. If a mob stands still for 1.5 seconds, or if it melees you while standing still, its leash timer will extend. So mobs with fast attack speeds, such as cats, will actually reset their leash if they stand still for 1 second, because that's how quick their attack speed is.
So if you want to run away, don't hit the enemy with anything if you're running, even if it doesn't do damage, and don't stop moving. Number 3 on the list, related to leashes, is split pulling. There are multiple types of pulls in WoW. There's a body pull, where you aggro by being too close to enemies. Ranged, where you use a ranged ability or weapon to engage the mob more precisely. And social pulling, which is a mechanic where an enemy will pull nearby enemies of the same type when you aggro one. For example, if you pull one mob in a group, it will likely pull all the others along with it. This is important especially for one reason, which goes back to leashes. This group of enemies will share the same leash, meaning if you keep the leash on any one of them, they will all follow until you fully reset. There is a way around this if you want to split them into separate leashes, so you can reset the enemies individually, and that is split pulling. Split pulling is basically any way of pulling that will aggro all of the group at the same time, before the first one can socially aggro the rest. This will mean they're all on individual leashes, so you can reset them all as you wish. This is easiest to do with an AoE ability, but it can be done much more riskily by body pulling them all at the same time. Number 4. While we're on the topic of mob behavior, is abusing pathing. Mobs cannot jump, and many types can't swim either, which means you can abuse your environment to kite or even reset entirely. For example, fence kiting by jumping back and forth across a fence. Enemies are big Trump supporters, and they cannot cross fences, so they will run all the way around, giving you plenty of time to do damage, catch your breath, bandage, run away, etc. This doesn't have to be done with a fence, you can use your creativity.
Oh shit, dude, he's coming.
There are also many spots in game that enemies simply cannot reach, typically anywhere in the environment that you'd have to jump to, like on the top of a shack or on railings, sides of buildings, interiors, broken buildings. And for mobs that can't swim, you literally just have to walk gnome deep into water to be completely safe, and the mobs will evade after a few seconds. This can be a little weird for mobs with ranged attacks, but it's still a very good plan B, unlike the pill your mother took. Number 5. Speaking of enemies' behavior, once again, are abilities. Many enemies in this game have different abilities. Spiders might web and root or poison you.
Oh, now I can't do that! Satch! Hold. Oh shit. No, don't help me! You goddamn dinkus, what are you doing? No! Fuck!
Murlocs and other humanoids might heal, etc. One of the scariest abilities is Execute, something certain mobs like just about any named Slayer have. However, easier than memorizing these abilities, I highly recommend an add-on called Classic Bestiary. It will show in the tool tab what abilities enemies have, so you can be more prepared than any horny purple emos.
You are not prepared.
The final point regarding enemy behavior is LOS. LOS can make you practically invincible against casters, as all you have to do is literally run around a corner, and they might never even hit you. One important thing to note is that LOS in this game is questionable at times. Certain objects like many trees, terrain, troll ruins, etc. may seem like they should block LOS, but they kind of just don't. Use LOS as much as you can. It will save you so much pain against otherwise very scary casters, like the Fias Villagers. But either be sure it's real LOS, or be sure you have a plan if it isn't. Sort of in the same vein as LOS is the Y-axis, and the classic WoW simply does not give a fuck. What I mean by this is that the range of enemy melee attacks is determined only by the X-axis, and that even if an enemy is multiple floors above you, but it's horizontally right next to you, they will hit you through the floor, no matter how much vertical distance there is. It's kind of bullshit, but it's the way it works. This makes towers very dangerous, and you need to be very careful if you try to run away in a tower or any building with multiple levels. Number 8. This one is literally a basic game mechanic, but I see so many people ignoring it that I figured I would cover it anyways. 5-second rule. This only applies to classes with mana. Your mana will start regenerating 5 seconds after you cast anything. If you cast again before that 5 seconds is up, the timer will reset, and it will be 5 more seconds until your mana starts regenerating. This is why dumping your spells early in a fight and finishing with wands or auto attacks is very good for sustainability, as you can do a lot of damage and your mana can regen as you fight. This can also save you if you play intelligently, which is asking a lot of WoW players, I know, as just 1 or 2 extra ticks of mana regen can give you just enough mana to use a clutch spell to save your life. Number 9. Seems like common sense, but if you had common sense, would you be playing hardcore WoW in the first place? Number 9 is don't split your damage. Focus one enemy down at a time. This is obviously a more general tip and may not always apply, for example mages, popping AoE CDs, etc. But for the most part, especially early game when you probably don't have any AoE abilities, it's a good idea to kill one mob before you start another when you're fighting multiple mobs at a time. Number 10, the final tip of this guide, swing timers. First off, get a swing timer add-on. Go on, I'll wait. Good? Good. There are a few mechanics regarding swing timers that you should be aware of. First off is Parry Haste. Parry Haste essentially speeds up the next attack after a parry, which can be a huge swing in combat, especially with slow two-handed weapons and at early levels. This works for both you and enemies, so when you parry, your next attack will come out faster than it would otherwise, and vice versa. This is a large reason of why dual wielding for warriors is pretty bad for leveling. Attacking more means the enemies will parry more and you're going to take more damage. Also, you can't get those sweet two-handed parry burst damages either. The second part of swing timers I want to mention is potions. Find your potions, use your potions. Your potions will save your life. Don't be greedy. But if possible, be aware of when you do. Using a potion will reset your swing timer, so ideally you want to pop one immediately after you swing so you don't lose as much damage. Finally, kiting. You may not think the warrior is a kiting class, but kiting can be super effective even for our favorite Zugzugs. Your enemy swings much faster than you. Say you have a slow two-handed weapon and they're dual-wielding daggers or something, which you can see with the swing timer. You can snare them with a slow ability like hamstring and kite them in between your swings, so you ultimately take much less damage, as they hit you less, while you lose virtually no damage, since you weren't swinging in that time anyways. I will note that because of the way Blizz servers work, and things like latency and leeway, sometimes this may not be as effective as you'd expect, but it's still a good tool to have in your utility belt. Now, a couple of bonus honorable mention tips before I go suck your mum blood. First one being less of a tip and more of a clarification of a false tip. You may have heard enemies that run at low health, which is mostly humanoids, will actually run in the direction that you're facing. So you can intentionally face them away so that they run in a safe direction that won't pull more enemies. Well, this is actually completely false, and if you try and test it, you'll notice that real quick. This actually comes from private servers, as it is true on most, but on official Blizzard Classic servers, mobs do not follow this behavior whatsoever. And if you try to rely on this to save you from pulling a whole camp of Murlocs, you're gonna end up sleeping with the Murlocs. Some people are into that though, I'm sure. This is the internet.
Me not that kind of
The second bonus and true final advice I have for you, beware the elevator boss. There are many, and they are all more deadly than any mythic boss could ever hope to be. Don't rush. Have just the tiniest bit of patience, for your own good. I beg. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully these tips will help ensure the only way you die in hardcore is to a demonic rune or auto-running an Iron Forge. I'm so excited and hope to see you all when official drops. I'll be streaming probably way too much over on Twitch.
Oh man.
And by see, I mean I probably won't see shit because my first character is going to be doing the first person only challenge. Oh boy. Goodbye and good luck in your adventures, mortals.